Hey, what up? What's up, everyone? How you doing? Happy Friday. Thanks. Oh my God, Connor. Oh, thank you very much for all those subs. It's extremely kind of you. Everyone, big round of applause. Connor's 5-month streak. We have stubble. The shininess didn't last long. Nope. My hair grows fast, generally speaking. Not quite as fast as I thought. But you know, it's coming in. I'm thinking I might shave it all off again. But also I just don't want to. I like when my hair's long. I just didn't want to get a haircut. How we doing, everybody? Welcome to the stream, this weekly stream where we can talk about Sonic the Hedgehog. We can talk about other things, but mostly I would like to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog. My hair is past my shoulders at the moment. Oh yeah, Finn, if you're not getting haircuts in COVID. Makes sense. Who we got? We got Ninja Barney. We got Greed of a Mistress. Zaim, hello. Master Ekieki. Am I pronouncing that correctly? August last year. Holy shit. My favorite Sonic is Shadow. Dude, he's just, he's super sick. He's the president's favorite, too, you know? Mine's halfway down my back. Yo. Mine's really long right now, too. Oh boy. Hope everyone had a good week. I sure did. I had an extremely conflict resolution heavy week. Not the interpersonal kind, but the tech Skyrim version. Man, if I could, I would love to dress up as Geralt. I'd need to get a lot more jacked. That's for sure. Anyway, for the people watching the VOD, I'll jump into this fairly quickly. So, if you guys remember, my goal for, what's it called? For this stream, or by the stream, I was hoping to have all of these, starting from what? About, like, here-ish? Something like that. I was hoping to have all of these resolved. All the way to there. I can promise you that's definitely not the case. I had a little bit less time than I thought I was going to have this weekend. Last weekend, that is, and then also this week. But with that said, so like what I've gotten through, I can show you, is like, let's start about there. So I'm now to here, all of these, plus like some stuff down here too. It is, so there's, oh man, this chunk, let me show you, right here, is, this whole business was a really, really big task, because if you guys can see this, oh, and also, what is it, Forza Skyrim Rebuilt, these are what we might call the settlement mods. These are the mods that either add stuff to the major cities and settlements, or they just expand them, add in new settlements like Forts of Skyrim does. And it's really complex because if you guys remember, one of the new features, one of the things that doesn't just qualify as a straight port from the Legendary Edition version, is that we are running open cities. Open cities is really, really cool. Most of you, I imagine, are familiar, but if you're not, it opens up the cities so that they operate more like Morrowind, where, you know, every city is in the same world space as the overworld. And that causes a lot of compatibility issues. It's very cool because it honestly, like for me, one of the moments where it really kind of sold me was when I was fucking around with blue. This was months ago. I was fucking around with the Palace and Castle enhancement mod. I think it's just called Palaces and Castles Enhanced. And I came out onto this balcony, and the balcony looked. This was in Riften. I was coming out of Mistvale Keep, and I could just see out over the wall into kind of the little district that's outside Riften. I could see out over like the whole city, and I was like, how cool would it be if I could just jump over the wall to escape this place, or vice versa, come in the same way, like if you were to climb up onto the wall somehow and be able to jump into the palace from that angle. I thought that would be super cool, and it just felt really weird that you couldn't. And I've also tried to add additional verticality to, you know, the cities, and it just kind of sucks to not have them exist in the same world space, because when they are in the same world space, you can do all kinds of fun stuff like that. You can start letting players access rooftops and give them kind of ways to sneak around in cities and shit. And it also, obviously, you can interact with the people inside the city for things like dragon attacks and things like that. So I think it's really cool. It's just, it's been kind of an effort more than just conflict resolution to wrap my mind around what it takes to patch things for open cities. I have a lot of patches here that help a lot. And so it's just been kind of a task figuring out how all the stuff is going to work between what we got. The housing mods, you got fucking Skyrim sewers has to connect. You got JKs and blues have to be patched. Blue Skyrim is Dawn of Skyrim, by the way. And then you have the outlaw refuges, that all of these things, what you're essentially getting in the end is a very interconnected environment. Each city really, it's like, you know, if this is the very top, let's here for the camera, if this is the very top of the largest building in the city, you have a lot of different ways to interact down to the ground level, right? Getting into and out of cities buildings and things like that. And then beneath ground level, you go even further into a complex network of sewers, and with the outlaw refuges, little hideouts for thieves and assassins and whatever, that themselves then reconnect to the above ground and also outside the city. So it's really, really fun. It's just, you know, it's a task and a half to get working. No Spaces Dan, does it affect performance too? Oh, you betcha. You bet it does. I actually found a post by Arthmore while I was searching for various patches and things like that, talking about how he felt like it was a myth that open cities, it has a performance cost, and depending on exactly what he means by that, I suppose it might be defensible, but I've never, I mean, there's a distinct difference in performance from open cities versus without open cities. I mean, I don't understand how there couldn't be. The closest thing would be like occlusion planes that, you know, if the doors are closed or whatever, you don't see everything that's rendering inside the city. But even there's more, and especially with the population mods and everything. And that, okay, to be fair, maybe that's something that I would have to test, is throw all these population mods in there and swap it, or just like compare with open cities versus without and see how it performs. So to be fair, to our boy Arth. Maybe we can't definitively say, but in Ultimate Skyrim as it is right now, there's definitely a performance impact, which is why I am really going to lengths to try and make the install scalable, so that, like, for example, on the potato version, the potato preset, you still are going to have open cities, you're going to have all the gameplay stuff, but all the visual mods that would otherwise kind of drain your performance, you'll be able to avoid. Wound up in Blackreach by going through an underground railroad. Hell yeah. That is, are you talking about with the underground railroad mod? So what I would eventually like to do is, never been there before, I can only save in an internal cell. Gotcha. What I would eventually like to do is connect the sewers. I've mentioned this in previous streams, but Skyrim Underground provides like essentially that sewer underground interconnected network. They're not all sewers, but just like an underground network of tunnels and cells and stuff that spans most of the entire province. I'm like, that's fucking cool. How cool would it be to have that and connect it with kind of the work that we're doing here? Anyway, long story short, there's a lot of records in these plugins, and I'm pretty stoked to kind of have them out of the way. I'm hoping as I go through the rest of these that they will be comparatively simpler. Some of these right here, the what you might call item overhauls, those have a lot of records in them, but they're not really going to take that much to conflict resolve, because I'm going to have to look at them anyway when I look at Requiem and Ultimate Skyrim. So there's not a whole lot of point at the moment. So I can kind of skip parts of those. And these, I'm trying to think down here. So the NPC, what's it called? Of course, the NPCs, there's a lot of them to check out and to reconcile. But that's like part of what I did this week. I can show you how many there are in Ultimate Skyrim now. It's quite a lot. Let me see here. I had to go through those because of AI overhaul. Monsters in there not so lore friendly. Yeah, it's honestly one of the biggest drawbacks that I've had, Liz, is those monsters. Like, if I'm putting it in there, I'm gonna have to patch them out or like put in lore friendly stuff. Hey Kyle, how you doing? Welcome. It's a slave mod. There were Falmer everywhere. Real run and gun stuff. Gotcha. Oh, are you talking about the alternate? It was a slave mod. Are you talking about the live another life start, where it's like a your money or your life death alternative, but it's like a plugin for alternate start where you can start out as like a Falmer captive? I miss those. I really do. I miss kind of the directed starts of Live Another Life versus Skyrim Unbound. That's something that's pretty high priority for me as well, is eventually I would like to kind of get the best of both worlds as far as those two mods go. Because I like the freedom that Skyrim Unbound gives you. I like the scenarios and kind of the intuitive method of starting your game that Live Another Life presents. So that's something I would very much like to do. So here you can see, here's a bunch of NPCs. Let's sort them by name. It's kind of fucked up. I'm getting to the point where I just really am starting to recognize NPCs by name and be like, I have not patched this person yet. Like, when I hear the name, there's a whole lot of them. They all have customized appearances and new AI routines through AI overhaul. The latest update, I had to update to the latest version of AI overhaul because a patch that I wanted to use for open cities required the latest version. That ended up taking a ton of time, but it's also like, you know, it's beneficial just because, I mean, AI overhaul was going to take a lot of time anyway and just knock it out. Hey, Sacroletius, how you doing? I'm glad you're here, Sacroletius, because check this out. Look at all these nav meshes that I'm going to get to go through. Wait, let's see. Is it on this page? Yes. Here we go. So here's just like a running list of loose notes that I've been keeping. So all of these, every individual form ID here is a nav mesh that is going to need merging. Let's look at one as an example. Here, let's do this boy, whoever this is. So here's a good example of a nav mesh in dire straits. How did you patch Open Cities and Outlaw? Well, so there are I mean, it's fairly simple, Capel. Yeah, Sacroletus. I'm not trying to fix nav meshes here in xEdit. I have them in the plugin so that I know that these are the ones, like, it's kind of two separate areas that, you know, I have a record of these nav meshes needing fixing. And so here you got, what is it? Outlaw Refuges, Skyrim Sewers, JKs. There's a JKs and Outlaw Refuges patch, which is really nice, except for the fact that, one, we have Skyrim Sewers, which needs to edit this nav mesh as well, and two, we're running Open Cities. So Open Cities is going to very much change the kind of stuff that you need to do here, because, you know, if you have, like, these are connecting to, here, look at this door. So this door, thanks to the Open Cities and Skyrim Sewers patch, no longer has the same teleport destination. It's being handled elsewhere. Hey CT, how you doing? Look at dealing with that male shepherd hair. Yeah, I guess so, huh? He does have kind of, I mean, that's that military crew cut. So as of now, if I were to try and run this nav mesh in the game, the Open Cities one, I mean, it's identical. I just have these forwarded. So the Open Cities nav mesh would take priority, which means it's very unlikely that the NPCs will understand how to go into some of these other cells. For example, Skyrim Sewers, and probably the Outlaw Refuges as well. The NPCs that are in there already will have no problem because they're already placed there. But if you try to get one to go from one cell to the next, you'd have trouble because they're not going to understand that they can do that. So that's when you get to do what Sacroletus just said. Load all of those mods into the CK and redo the nav meshes. It's the only way to properly generate the Navi record. So essentially what he means is that you rebuild it from scratch. You rebuild it with all the mods that you want to have the nav mesh aware of. Also, in case anyone's not aware of what a nav mesh is, I just realized I might have taken that for granted. A nav mesh is essentially Skyrim's way, Bethesda Games' way, of telling the NPCs where they are able to walk, also what doors they're able to interact with, right? Because that's how, I mean, essentially traveling between cells in Bethesda Games is kind of like teleportation. You know, they go to a certain spot, a certain vertex on the nav mesh. That vertex is connected with the door and says, hey, you can use this door, and this door goes to here. It's one of the more complex concepts, I suppose. If you're familiar with, like, pathfinding and coding, it's pretty basic stuff, because this is how most 3D games operate, is instead of, like the way it used to be, take, like, a comparatively simple game like Mario or something. Like a Mario game, pathfinding for AI, there's almost no pathfinding at all, right? You just have an entity that is coded, like a Goomba can go left, and that's your pathfinding right there. It goes left and it interacts with collision, so it can't pass through things that it shouldn't be able to pass through. Maybe it has, you know, additional, like a Koopa Troopa that has wings can, you know, bounce, and so it just kind of bounces across the game, but it's comparatively far simpler. For something like an open world game where, you know, you have all these characters and they're supposed to be dynamically moving around and doing different things, pathfinding becomes a lot more complex. And there, you know, the terrain is three-dimensional, and it's honestly not easy, but that's how they handle it, is through essentially a big ol', it's like a big, I don't know how Sacroletus would you describe it? It's like a big tarp that you stretch over the ground to say anything that this tarp covers, you can walk on. That's a nav mesh. Hey, you missed a shiny Belmont boy. You can go check the VOD. Yeah, a mesh. I guess that's a good way of describing it. A mesh for people who aren't familiar with what a mesh is on a technical level. Great thing about Vilya is she can follow you anywhere, even if you fall through the world. She's like Pratchett's luggage. Gotcha. Hey Rust, how you doing? Yep. It's I mean, there's workarounds. It's just like you need, for, you know, the name of the game is dynamic emergent gameplay. All these different characters need to be able to interact with everything. And if, you know, if I'm being chased by the guards into the sewer and I want to escape through the sewers, they need to be able to follow me. It's important. So, oh my god, excuse me, I'm burping. I just went and I got a COVID test today, another one, so that's where I came back from. And I kind of scrambled to get the stream up and going. So this is my coffee. It's noon here and I haven't had my coffee yet, so my brain is working at 30% capacity. Once I get my coffee in, it'll be up to the regular 40%. So bear with me. Rebel's Eyes has been doing a lot of navmeshing lately. Oh, that's pretty good. That makes me think that the areas that he's navmeshing are pretty final. That's what I would guess. The other day I found the new Zim's mod of Dragons. So what are your thoughts with his mods? I'm not familiar, Rust. I can look it up real fast. This one. Sunrise of Flutes. Oh wait, here we go. Zim's Dragon mod, huh? Dragon Improvements, I'm assuming, is what this is. Ooh. They look pretty. Subtle lore-friendly improvement to the Dragons of Skyrim makes encountering one feel more like a boss fight and less like a Dremor improvements, Dragon improvement, immersive. Oh, immersive artifacts, I know. Boss fight, slightly more difficult animal encounter, unique deadly dragon breath, increased variety, installation options, requirement compatibility, textures from belly. I was gonna say those look like belly aches. It looks cool. The problem with dragon mods is that you have to be it's not the problem with the mods themselves, it's the interaction between the dragons and Requiem, because dragons are no joke in Requiem, so it's very possible to make them. This is really cool, this chart that this person's put together. It's an image. Yeah. It's probably a pain in the ass to update a little bit, but maybe not. It's very cool though, it looks nice. Hey Miami, how you doing? It's very easy to accidentally make dragons like fucking impossible in Requiem, so I always have to be careful, but visually, the bellyache textures, just gorgeous, right? Look at these. Beautiful. Oh, and then the unique names. Love it. I think Real Names has an option for that. Hey, Noteworthy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. For Reasons Unknown. It's a good song by the Killers. No, wait, no. Is that the name of the song? Yeah, I think so. You recommended Rebel's Eyes videos from 2 years ago where he talks about his girlfriend dying 2 years ago. That was like the saddest fucking thing. I like cannot even imagine. I remember when that happened. It makes me want to cry, frankly. Give dragons auto regen. I cannot deal with any more enemies that have auto regen. There's so many Requiems. So many Requiems. God, I'm so sorry, everybody. So many enemies in Requiem, Sacroletius, that have regen. It is just like, it's a big old bugaboo. Real Names will be in the SE release, the initial one. Kyle. Loving the buzz. You could pass as a Skyrim merc. Hell yeah. Up until I started fighting somebody, I think. So this looks pretty cool. You know what I can do? Here, let me add it. I have Jira open in one of these windows. I got too many. Make sure I don't have it already. Dragon improvements. Nope. Alright, here. I'll create a ticket for it. Say, Zim's Dragon Improvements. Assigned to me. Story points, I don't know. 13, 21. There we go. Labels SE. Say, looks like a cool mini expansion to Dragons and includes Real Names functionality and Bellyache textures. There we go. Boom, baby. Watch the stream where they had regen on the dragons, makes them almost impossible to kill. Yeah, regen it's tricky because it's not that fun to me. Or like, so like if you think about an enemy encounter as sometimes having regen, like maybe, you know, like think about how many games you've played probably where, you know, a boss monster will have a portion of the fight where it's trying to regen its health, and there will typically be some other kind of mechanic that is maybe the idea is that you can attack them while they're regenerating in order to minimize the amount of regen that they can get, and meanwhile some other mechanic is happening that kind of makes it a challenge for you to stop them from regenerating. That's fun. Having just pure regen just all the time can be kind of shitty. It's tricky. It's a complex issue. Like trolls are fun. Like the idea of like trolls having regen, it's cool because as long as it's not like super intense, and I think it kind of errs on the side of super intense maybe a bit in Requiem. But it's cool that like as trolls, like part of their lore is that they can regenerate, right? So it's not crazy super intense regeneration, but it's kind of like a fun, like a fun novelty, as Noteworthy says. When every other enemy has regen, it's just like, ugh. Liches or like dragon priests are an interesting one because I guess it kind of makes sense that a lich in terms of lore might have some sort of regenerative ability, but the implementation as is just is very difficult. It essentially damage gates these dragon priests to where either you can do enough single target damage fast enough or you can't, and it's kind of just that's either you can beat the encounter or have a chance of beating the encounter, or you have no chance at all. Yeah, I know that Noxcrab does have some regen tweak. Noxcrab has a whole lot of cool tweaks. Seen people who are good at Requiem die repeatedly, give up fighting dragon priests. Yeah, because it gets to the point where it's not super fun. At least I should say this. God, the amount of times that I have had a character that has legitimately gotten to the point where I could fight dragon priests is not that many times. So I'm kind of going off the experiences that I've seen. That's an interesting idea, Sacrolettes. Is like if you had a dragon like every once in a while, maybe a variant of a dragon that had regenerative abilities and maybe isn't as strong in other areas or something. But again, it's like even just flat regeneration, even like on the trolls or whatever, it's not nearly as fun. It's not engaging. It's just kind of like whether or not the player does anything, there's just, you know, regen. It's just there. It's happening. There's not a whole lot you can do to counter it. There's, like a cool way to counter the regen, like fire for trolls. And there's a problem is that like the way that fire damage works, it's not like a damage over time traditionally the way you would kind of assume that it would be. So it just ends up like shield bashes, for example. Sorry, not shield bashes, torch bashes are supposed to be a way to counter torches, or God, I cannot speak this morning. I'm so sorry. Torch bashes are supposed to be a way to counter trolls because you can set them on fire even if you're not a mage or whatever. But you set them on fire and the fire goes out like immediately. It's the same way that flames, the spell, works, even though you would think, again, that it would be some sort of damage over time, that it would last for at least a second, because when you set something on fire in real life, it doesn't just go out immediately. But it does, so you end up kind of like, either you have a torch in one hand and a blade in the other, or whatever, and you're fighting them that way and just occasionally like bashing every second to kind of stop it. But it's a really small window, and the window only really exists because of like script lag, I think. Pretty sure. But it's I don't know, it's a cool like mechanic to sprinkle in to design fights. If the mechanic and the fight is just the regen, I think it's not as enticing. All right, well, here, what were we doing? We're looking at Navmesh. I mean, I figure really, so the progress update for you guys is that We got more plugins to do. I'm here, right? Hold on. I'm here, and I'm moving through this patch, and then when I'm done with that, I got these ones, and then I got these ones down beneath. Hey, Terpius. How you doing? Script lag is the single thing that annoys me most about Skyrim. Yeah, it does limit what you can do. You can have, it's just like anything, the most interesting scripts, right, are the ones that are like generally doing something, like you use the player as the focal point, and then you have cloak scripts which allow like complex AI to run around you or any number of things. But that causes script lag because then you're asking a ton of NPCs to update their routines like on the fly. And also you have other mods that are doing the same thing. So it just it can fall apart quite easily. AGO has bleed damage if you pepper them with arrows. That's cool. I like the concept of bleed damage. Such amazing work. It's useless because of script lag. Yeah, or even things like TK hit stop, right? Great mod, great concept. The script lag kind of gets in the way. There's just, I don't know. Everyone complains about the Papyrus scripting engine, right? That is beyond my pay grade. I'm a script kiddie at best, so, you know, I couldn't tell you what would need to change there in order to facilitate more complex scripts being allowed to run without creating some sort of latency. Maybe Finn could, also some of our other developers. Anyway, shall we jump back in to some sick-ass conflict resolution? A lot of stuff we can do in Oblivion with scripts that we can't do in Skyrim. Really? Interesting, CT. So Oblivion is not as subject to script lag as Skyrim. That is funny. Oh, guys, I found a super sick new trick that maybe everyone knew about besides me. I don't know. I've been working with xEdit for years and years and years. I've been looking for a way forever to twirl down a bunch of records at once. You just hold Alt and click it. It's like, for example, this is kind of a bad example because, you know, Winterhold exterior, Whiterun exterior 06, there's only one sub record here and then the rest of these. But if you close this up and you click it, boom, it just automatically twirls out everything. Wow. Script lag, still remember TK Ultimate Dragons. The problem is too with script lag is that people will blame certain mods, or like they'll add in this mod and say, oh, this mod has so much script lag. And it's hard to like lay at the feet of a specific mod unless it's using something like, you know, a poorly written cloak script. Those are easy scapegoats. But it's one of those things where it can be death by 1,000 cuts. You can have several different mods that maybe have a script cloaking script, and they're not too bad, and they're like fairly what's it called, minimalist. Like the code is good, but when you stack them on top of each other, it starts to cause problems. It's unfortunate. So most of these are no sweat. What is this, a chair? You can leave that. I'm at the portion of these mods where there's not a whole lot of conflict resolution that needs to be done, which is nice. The navigation meshes have generally all been checked by this point, so it's just little things, but I have to check it because every once in a while you'll come across something that needs to be fixed. It's like, this is fine, I don't have to touch this. None of those have conflicts. Chill Furrow Farm exterior. This one already there. This is one of the Navmeshes, I'm sure, that is on my big old list. I'm going to move this back over. That's not the right thing. Hold up. No, that's not it either. That's my Pomodoro timer. For those of you... Oh, here's my NPCs comparison window. Really fun there. Zim's Dragon Improvements. Here we go. Take my notes, put them back over here. And what I like to do here is just double check that I've listed all these nav meshes in my big list of nav meshes to be... Oh, shit. See, this is exactly why I do this, is sometimes there's one not here. So I'm looking at this nav mesh, It's not in my list. 79BDB. I'm reading that correctly, right? It's not there. So let's add it in. Massacre's Oblivion overhaul. Huge overhaul for the game. Super compatible. Everything. It's almost entirely scripts. Cool. Am I excited for Oblivion Remastered mod? Oblivion, are you talking about Sky Oblivion, Zayn? Because if so, hell yeah. Someone leaked Windows XP's source code? That's pretty wild. That's something I feel like Microsoft would actually go after. Okay, so here's one that hasn't been addressed yet. What I'm going to do here for the meantime is forward. I kind of want this Navmesh, at least for now, taking precedent. The JK Dawn of Skyrim OCS, because that's generally going to make things work better. I mean, this is just so that the NPCs can get into the outlaw refuges. So the damage in forwarding this one for now is less than the damage of relying on this one. Also, it allows me to have all the nav meshes that I want to edit in the alt sky record. EA087. You going crazy with the graphics overhaul? You're just adding a big texture pack like no. Oh hell no, Lacobe James. I've gone pretty nuts with the graphics. There's all kinds of shit in there, honestly, and I think it looks really nice. Microsoft is a bit pissed with people making videos showing stuff from the code. Yeah, I mean, that's, if there were anything that a company is going to go after, that strikes me as it. That's the code for their primary product. And it's an operating system, you know what I mean? So it's a security issue as well. Obviously, XP is not Windows 10, but I'd be crazy to assume that there's not carryover. Ow. Oof. Hey, isn't that Oblivion soundtrack just so relaxing? I really am so excited to run back through Oblivion in Sky Oblivion. I'm so stoked. And I just, like, from what I've seen, you know, of the development, you got a wide team with a lot of expertise and a lot of passion. And that's just fucking cool as hell, because you can see already, I say already, they've been working on this for years, but you can see the quality of the work. It's tangible, and that's very exciting. See Iliac Bay preview the other week. The whole time, this would be great in US. I did not. In my dream, Miami Nights is to one day. So let's say we build out Skyrim, right? Get all this sick gameplay systems and mechanics that I want for Ultimate Skyrim. Beyond Skyrim starts to come out. We expand into that. We expand into quest mods. We basically make a fucking... I want to make a game that just feels like it's... You could just replay it a million different times and have a different experience. That would be amazing. Like, so you have the huge world to explore and a bunch of different shit. And then you also have, you know, all the different systems governing character creation and, like, character builds. Like, get a bunch of fucking Enai mods in there that add all these really fun different mechanics for, like, standing stones and blessings and all kinds of shit like that. That of course then horizontally connect to the other systems, and I just think you have a really fun theoretical game, right? That doesn't exist yet. A lot of people... Oh yeah, I feel you, CT. There's a lot of people that still have to use XP due to compatibility with old software. It's not being developed anymore. Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, I wasn't even thinking of people who were actually still on Windows XP. I was even just thinking for bad actors who might look at the source code and then be able to identify, you know, holes in security. But that's a good point. Making all the world space mods compatible and consistent. Oh yeah, what a fun task that's gonna be. But it would be cool. See, this is why we have to go through, because there's still... Actually, this one's fine. I can leave that. It looks like some changes happening from USleep. USEP? I'm always going to call it USleep, because that's actually a word. But yeah, so check this out. Look. Boom. I just unfurled all of them, magically. Just hold Alt. What a time to be alive. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. You? That's fine. Who are you? Do I have this one in here? Whenever I come across him, I just like to check. What is it? 54405. Oh, that one's in there twice. Oops. Well, there we go. I can take out one. Oh, that's what you're doing, Sacrilegious. That's a large task. Very time consuming. New high-level alchemy spell, Mr. Potions, massive what? Yourself up to 10 friendly targets near you. Oh, cool. Apply a poison your weapon and weapons up to... Oh, that's fucking very cool. I love it. It's also just, even if... So, like, it's a, you know... Very, like... as a spell, like, in-game, it's, like, kind of cool. But even just as, like, a quality of life thing. Like, imagine instead of having to go and, like... give everyone the potions individually for like the mods that allow you to do that, just like no, pow, like all of you guys get this potion or this poison. Makes me want to like lead a small army. Ugh. 19B04. That's the other thing too. I know things are starting to get real, what's the word, inside baseball when I'm starting to recognize some of these Navmeshes by their form ID. That's how you know you've been doing this for too long. Okay, this is fine. Yes, you make the red green. Well, it's like you do generally, but then so like the thing is that you have to know what red is okay. So for example, this is fine as is, even though like this, what's it called? Well, I'm in this patch, but if I were in here like JK Skyrim, let me just bookmark this real fast. But if you're here, this is going to display as just straight red, right? This red, like Sacrilegious just says, this needs to stay red. Because so what this red is telling you, this full-on, the background's red and the text is red too. This is telling you that JK Skyrim has values that are not being forwarded to the game as of right now. This is position data, so this is about as basic as it gets. And also the cell that it belongs in, and the position data actually affects that. This is not what we want, actually, because we have, well, first of all, Open Cities needs to have its cell forwarded, so it's actually in the proper open world space instead of the origin cell. And also, the location might need to be something different. Now, if this patch, this is actually a little bit strange to me, because this patch, well, it's actually the same for JK, so it's keeping it in the same spot. So what we can assume here is that this patch is putting it where Open Cities wants it. That may be an oversight. I would think that they would, because this is a JK's patch, that they would have it, where JK's wants it, but maybe not. Generally speaking, what I do here is in an instance like this, I defer to the patch first until I have a chance to go in game and see if something's out of place. Because otherwise you can kind of screw yourself by trying to anticipate what the author was trying to do here. Like if I wanted to, I could take this, forward it to our plugin, and then forward the location data here. And so there, nice and green, right? And that actually is the type of edit that you might want to make, because once again, I don't know why this patch is retaining the vanilla position data, but maybe it has a good reason. The problem is I don't really know one way or the other. So I'll defer. And there's no, I wish that, I've said this a million times, I wish there was some way to have in-record notation for each plugin to say, hey, maybe someone says like, this is why I did this, like here's what's happening. Just kind of like notation within code. Unfortunately, there is not. So the best we can really do is guess. And so in this case, I'm fine leaving this as is, because what you have here is JK's, you have Open Cities, you have the JK Open Cities patch. So we should assume if this patch is doing what it's supposed to do correctly, that this data is correct and it doesn't need any changing. And that's the kind of shit you just pick up from using the programs, right? You know what it is, you can see it at a glance, and you go, okay, that looks correct. And move on. That's the kind of stuff that allows you to work faster or slower depending on your level of familiarity. It's like with anything else, right? Like, over time. So here's one. It's like, this is a, oh shit, definitely a Navmesh that needs attention. Which is why, hopefully, FC11C. Oh, that's in there twice as well. What the fuck? Well, there you go. Now once. Then we may be playing Sword Art Online Skyrim version. We're saying is Witchcraft got you. At 5, we sacrifice the goat. We sacrifice our firstborn to Shessen. That's our job. FC127. That one's in there twice as well. Why am I getting all of these twice? Better twice than not at all, but... Okay, see, this one needs to be forwarded. We're skipping over the Outlaw Refuges patch. So this is broken. We've just created a broken Navmesh. Sort of broken. It's going to work fine for the cities themselves. It's not going to let people probably into the Outlaw Refuges, unfortunately. So that'll need attention. 79 BBE. That one should not be in there, and it is not, so I'm adding it. This one should be. I'm pretty sure it is. Yep. Got it. And we move on. The other thing I've tried to get better at doing, what I used to do when I was building this out and just doing dev work, is I would stumble across something that needed it, like a. So right now I'm doing conflict resolution, right? Excuse me. Right now I'm doing conflict resolution. That is the primary, really the only thing that I'm should be doing right now. So when I come across like some other feature addition or like edit that I want to do, I used to just dive into it and then I would just get so sidetracked by a million different things. There was no prioritization. Now I'm a real software developer where I create a ticket for the thing that I want to do. I put it in the pile of tickets to be prioritized later, and then I maintain my focus best I can on the actual task at hand. Assume the coordinates from the Windhelm world corresponds to the same coordinates in Tamriel. OC changes the cell from the one in Windhelm world, whereas JK just edits the position of the object. Yes, Sacriletius, but here's the confusing part. I mean, that's all correct, but so you have open cities moving it to the cell, so that's fine. The question is why, when JK's wants it to be here, why is it not there in this patch? Because this patch exists for JKs and OCS. It's got the OCS cell forward. Why does it not have the coordinates forwarded? Like, why? Like, if these needed to be changed for JKs, it's strange to me that they wouldn't be changed here as well. So it could be an oversight, or there could be a reason. That's what I would assume. Has there been any progress on changing the You're Leveled Up to level 15 system to something more immersive? That is way outside the scope of this initial release, Derpius. I mean, it's something that I'm definitely always thinking about in that sense. It's gotten, it's worked on, but there's no tangible work that's been done on it. Yeah, sorry about my squeaky mouse wheel. This is an old mouse. It's a decent one. It's a Razer Death Adder Elite with the sick gamer RGB turned off. And it's very squeaky. Yeah, the Death Adder is my favorite in terms of shape, ergonomics, I guess you'd say. Oh, what the H? Okay, here we go. So this one's fine because we have open set. This is, here you go. Who is that? Sergeant Muffington. So here's an instance where we have a Navmesh, right, that actually doesn't need attention because we have JK's is editing the Navmesh, Open Cities is editing the Navmesh, and then we have a patch that's merging the Navmeshes from JK's and Open Cities. So this one's actually fine. And when you know this stuff, right, you just see this at a glance, you go, oh, that one's fine, and then you can move on quickly. At least ideally. I know this one's in there. Always double check just to make sure, just to be thorough. But see, this one's fine. It's actually kind of weird that there's an entry for this in that patch. Just double check. Looks fine to me. Navmeshes are Sacriletius' area of expertise. This is his bread and butter. I'm still very comparatively new to Navmeshing. Sick. So yeah, I mean, this is pretty much the task. So if you guys could imagine this, what I'm doing right here, but for, 8 hours a day. That's the what you do when you're doing like an initial conflict resolution pass. I think this one's okay too. You take breaks, you watch dumb YouTube videos in the background, right? At least that's what I do. I use my Pomodoro timer. It's a lifesaver for me. I don't know if you guys are like this, but I have sometimes a hard time staying focused, and the Pomodoro timer is a really helpful for me personally. A Pomodoro timer, if you're not familiar, is a Japanese. It stands for tomato timer, or it translates to tomato timer, and it is essentially it gives you 25 minutes of work, and then you get a 5-minute break, and then you do that like 4 times, and on the 4th time your break is longer. Are you working 8 hours a day on this? Yep. If I mean, on a good day, Cisco, some days are a little bit more, some days are a little bit less, but that's always my target. It's my full-time position. There's a leak of the NT source in Windows 2K in 2004. Bridge that leaked the XP kernel too. Damn. That's wild. That's the kind of shit I feel like the FBI comes knocking down doors for it, Leveling when you sleep is actually removed now, Rust, just because I didn't like how you couldn't see any sort of experience feedback. Of course, Cisco, it's my pleasure. To answer your question, Derpius, I don't know why it's a tomato. I honestly have no clue. Maybe tomatoes have something to do with productivity in Japan. Actually, you know what? I'm going to Google that because I'm curious now. Why tomato? I spelled it wrong. Tomato for tomato timer. Pomodoro time. Pomodoro technique on Wikipedia. Here. Time management method developed by, it's not even Japanese. Francesco Cirillo. Doesn't sound like a Japanese name to me. Timer breakdown working at intervals. Intervals out of Pomodoro. Italian word. Yeah, Pomodoro. Oh, you know what? That did sound Japanese to me, though. Also, tomato-shaped kitchen timer that Cirillo used as a university student. Okay, so it's literally just named after the timer that he happened to have that happened to be tomato. Checking out the Nordic Faces mod. Looks like a nice Vanilla Plus aesthetic. Nordic Faces, huh? Is this going to be another character overhaul? I'm going to have to try and add in there. Immersive characters. Oh yeah, this does look nice. Dang. Well, maybe once upon a time. But, oh, wow. This incorporates a bunch of stuff. Oh, Xenius. That's what we eat. Males. Women of Skyrim. Simple Children. Northborn Scars. Whoa, this is crazy. So it actually... Also, this is my favorite German word, by the way. It's potato. How interesting. It combines a bunch of mods, that some of which we actually use. Or have used. Faralda. Yeah, this is definitely Vanilla Plus, 300%. It looks really nice. I like it a lot. Tilma. Mr. What is that guy's name again? We looked at him in one of them. I do like it. It's very good. Solid. Do you know where I can learn how to change placed objects? Like, for example, changing the interior of an inn. And I have a mod that adds an item in that place. It doesn't show because it's not in the same cell. Try... adds an item in that place. It doesn't show because it's not in the same cell. Well, okay, so you can change the cell location. What determines where an item shows up, Capel, is the... It's pretty much what we were looking at in... Hold on a second. Let me bookmark this as well. What we were looking at here, where this is... What we're looking at here is pretty much everything you'd want to look at. This is the cell, and this is the location granularly within the cell. So you got X, Y, Z coordinates. So if you want to change that, you just need to find the reference, like the object itself, by selecting it in the console is a good way to do that. Or you can load it into the CK, which the CK is the best for stuff like that because you will actually get a visual representation of the cell. Excuse me. And you can just move it and then save it. Schadenfreude is my favorite German word. Old lady doesn't look like a 20-year-old model. Oh, yeah. Still adding stuff like you need a permit to hunt, pay to use forges, lock cities at night. So that mod is in here, Lakobi, but it is the we'll call it, like, I already turned off like the loitering. I don't like that, or like pay to use forges. Some of those might be like implemented, but I want to kind of play test it all to see how it feels, to see which of those crimes I'm gonna allow to persist. But the mod itself is definitely still in there. It's just a matter of which ones we're going to leave on. Okay, so here, what is this, a basket? So JK's Dawn of Skyrim is trying to turn it off. I'm actually going to let the Open Cities Holidays one stay to keep that enabled. Same thing there. Got some wines. I swear I've already been through here. Have I not? Maybe just a similar series. So I'm actually going to let those remain enabled. Mod name is something like, yes, SV. It's the SV mods menu, which is the combination of all of the SV stands for Stratovukos. He is the author, and he has since left the modding community, as far as I know. But his mods are there, and I think he opened up permissions on them too. So yeah, I can just blam, unfurl. How's this Navmesh? Good to go? 6A078, that sounds familiar. Yep, that one's in there. So I need to move the object in-game to the place I want it, and check the coordinates and put those in xEdit. That is one way of doing it, Capel. If you're not comfortable with the CK, or if like you're only like changing the location of like a single object, that's actually not a bad way to do it. What you can do, in fact, because I do that sometimes, just if I want like a quick like fix, is where's my Skyrim Special Edition? Do I have... Oh, maybe it's not in here. Maybe it's only in the Legendary Edition build. I wrote myself a little batch file that you can run that will... No, where's Steam install? Wait, what the hell? No, games. There we go. Steam apps. Common. Assuming Skyrim. Yes. Maybe it's in here? Oh, you know what? It's not, because I've been fucking around with my Skyrim install. Well, it's not hard to do. I wrote myself a little batch file that uses the in-game console commands to get the rotation and the position data. It's just like get pause X, get pause Y will get you the coordinates that you need. But as Sacroletes is saying, like, using the CK, if you're comfortable with the CK, it's way, way better for like adjusting. Like doing it in the CK is literally like you see the object there, you click it, you can move it, you can rotate it, and then it automatically stores that data as long as you save it. It really is better for like any sort of like world space edits, cell edits. The CK is the kind of the way to go. It's just the CK, if you don't have it set up, it's kind of a an effort to do it, but it's worth it once you do, I think. This one I know is in there. Any guide I can use to move those objects, don't know how to use the CK. There is an entire website, like wiki website, for the creation kit. Yeah, also Dark Fox's guides. He's got a lot of stuff. It's very, like, once you wrap your mind around that stuff, like moving things around within the cell, it's honestly super easy. Learning how to do that specifically, I don't think will take you too much time. It's fun too. That's a B. Kind of hard for me to tell the difference between that B and the C. Yeah, playing with Legos is a perfect analogy. That's what a lot of this stuff feels like, doesn't it? It's like I'm building my own little world. That's why Minecraft is so cool to me. Like the idea that kids got to grow up with Minecraft, it makes me very happy. Cause it's just like it's like cool ass Legos. Like imagine if you had Legos, but it's like a legit world that exists and you can fuck around with stuff and there's like monsters and whatever. It's super rad. Legos are cool. B sound enable stops it crashing. Oh yeah, here's another kind of bit is that getting the CK Sacroletus help me out here. There's like a series of fixes. There's like a mod that is a series of fixes for the CK that helps it kind of not crash and perform more stably. I believe that's still kind of like the generally advised method or like a thing that you should do if you're going to start working in the CK is get this mod. But I can't remember what it's called. I'll check in a second. Let me get through these. That's it. I knew Sacroletus knew what it was. That's a good one to run alongside your CK so that it's just it's I mean really the only like reason that people don't like the CK sometimes is that it can be a little finicky. Like sometimes it crashes, other times it just is somewhat difficult to work with. But there are just some things that there's some things that only it can do versus a tool like this, and there's other things that it is just like way better, like cell edits, all those kinds of things. Came back, saw the Matrix. Oh, you know it, Alan. I wish. I love the Matrix. I've probably seen the first Matrix more than any other movie, like in terms of successive times that I've seen it, right? Pardon me. Stretching my neck out. Grew up with Minecraft, Assassin's Creed, Need for Speed, and World of Tanks. Yeah, it is a strange combo of games. Derpiest kitty. Which Assassin's Creed are we talking about? Oh, God. This definitely dates me, but I remember when I was a freshman in college, I remember one of my floor mates having like one of the first like alpha versions of Minecraft. I remember like he would play it and I was like, oh, it looks cool. Like, what is that? And it's just so crazy to look back at that, right? Humble beginnings, and then it's, this massive phenomenon. Back to work. Did I ever mention the Udemy course I'm building? Yes, briefly in the last stream you did, Alan, but I don't remember the details. I just remember you saying that you were doing it. Listen, that's squeaky. Oh, did we run out of music? We did. Oopsie. On to Morrowind. Wow, that is so squeaky, isn't it? I can't really hear it myself because I have these sound-canceling headphones, but when there's no music playing, I can definitely hear it. Oh yeah, so this one's gonna get... we're donking this Navmesh super hard. So if you want to see how Navmeshes are represented here in xEdit, so xEdit is exceptionally good at displaying data. This is what it's really for, is to show data and to show, conflicts between different instances of the data. For something like let's look at this, like a barrel. This is a placed barrel. This is a reference that is placing a barrel. This is great. It's really, really simple, right? You can see, oh, this is the base object that it's placing, which is a barrel. We can even click through there to be like, oh, here's what a barrel looks like. This is the base record for a barrel. Has different flags about it, like it respawns by default. This is what it contains. This is the mesh that it uses. These are the essentially collision data, like for it. Here's the name when you look at it. So it's very simple to understand, and it's great. The xEdit is just fantastic. It is the tool that is single-handedly, or I should say, it is the most responsible for something like Ultimate Skyrim being able to exist. However, for something like a Navmesh, it's not ideal because it's doing what it's supposed to. It's displaying the data. The issue is that like a Navmesh is just something that you need to visualize in order to understand like how it's supposed to work. Like otherwise we just have a bunch of what looks like hexadecimal data for what each one of these is. It's the location of one of the vertices that makes up part of the Navmesh. The Navmesh is essentially a big, again, it's a big tarp. It's a big mesh, like a wireframe mesh covering the ground. It's made up of a series of triangles. The triangles are created by these vertices that we're looking at. So what we're seeing here makes sense in terms of that. It's just meaningless to us without the visualization. You know what I mean? Hopefully that makes sense. That might be a bit too technical. Display better info for LAN, Navi, EDC, and the options. General tab, xEdit, unchecked, simple records, LAN. Oh, interesting. Let me check it out. Thanks, Sacrilegious. Simple records. Requires restart. Okay, well, here's what I'll do then. What does it show? Otherwise, I guess we'll see. Did I put this one in? I did not. Okay, hold up. Hold up. Okay, there's that, and then I'm going to double check these two. Okay, that one's there. This one's there already. I recognize these. Alright, we good. So I'm going to bookmark this bad boy. Save. Ah. Interesting. So, I mean, that is cool, because it's like I can do something. I obviously would still need to go in and, you know, create the new Navmesh. But coordinate data is definitely more useful, I suppose, than hex values. I just closed it. I forgot to change the setting. I can't believe I just did that. Oops. Alright, back in we go. Everybody. Oh, whoever was asking about graphics mods. So there's a lot of graphics mods up in here. Also many different kinds of mods. This is all unsorted. They just happen to be installed. But here's some of the graphics mods that are installed. All the way through here. There's a lot. There's retextures. There's improved meshes. There's new weathers and lighting and flora and fauna. Oh, excuse me. Grass. Probably falls under flora. Snow. What would snow be? Weather, I guess? Textures, meshes. All kinds of shit. So it looks real nice. IMO. Alright, let's pop back in. Let's pop back in so I can adjust one single setting and then restart the program again. But that's actually no problem, because now, with, what is this, version 4.0.3 of xEdit, there used to be, before, version 4.0 of xEdit was like I cannot stress to you how much of a game changer it was. The program was already excellent before that. It was even more excellent after. There were so many cool features that they added. Things like mod groups. For me, like the biggest ones is like alignable array elements was huge. That essentially just means being able to align whatever, it's inside baseball. Just trust me, it's cool. But perhaps the biggest thing for probably the most users was this different way that it stores and processes references. Where is this? So, like, all of this reference data, like reference info, you can see it talking about it here. Without explaining, like going too deep into what that is, I probably would not do it justice anyway. It's just data that these records need in order. It's like it's referencing. Every single instance of a record is a reference. Loading that data is necessary for us to be able to adjust it as we are here. And it used to be, I'm pretty sure this is correct. It used to be that all of that data was built out every single time you launched the program. And with 4.0, I'm pretty sure it's caching the data now. So if you don't change, for example, anything about your load order, which we're not, as we, start this program over and over and over again, it just caches it so that every time you go to start the program, it's just like super fucking fast. Like what we're seeing here in terms of startup time is like exponentially faster than it used to be to start the program every single time. So if you made a mistake, or like you accidentally saved something that you didn't want to, or made a change that you didn't want to change, there's no undo button, anything of that sort. it was just a massive pain in the ass because you'd have to turn the program off and then restart it. And I used to like walk away from my computer to go get something, or like get a drink of water when I would have to start xEdit over. I never really complained about it because that was just the best we ever had. I was just happy to be able to edit the data at all. And when this shit came out, I was like, you're kidding. Like, it was just so much faster. I couldn't believe it. Like that, I can't remember if that's when they started their Patreon, but that it was around that time that I was like, I'm a patron forever for you guys. I would like to give even more than I do now, and I plan to in the future. It's just so good. Really, really cool. And they need us. They need, for anyone who supports this work or wants to get into this stuff yourself, please consider donating to the xEdit Patreon, because this program, it really is fantastic. Sacrilegious, I actually don't really use mod groups either. I know that for like Elminster in them, like mod groups are kind of a thing that they swear by for conflict. It makes sense to me, their like method of using mod groups. It's just for what I do here with this like monolithic like, you know, plugin that kind of edits everything. I prefer to do things that way because we also add proprietary features into that plugin, and it's just like nice to be able to see it all in one place instead of having to dive into each plugin. But mod groups are really useful for people who are just modding their own load order and they want to like just conflict. It's particularly useful for conflict resolution. I don't use them myself, but it's a cool thing that is added even if I don't use it. Alright, so let's see these. Navmesh's updated info. Oh yeah, okay, I feel you. So obviously the takes up more space. I want to see a landscape. Maybe I will see one sooner rather than later here. Navmesh. Give me a landscape. That one's fine. Let me pull my keyboard and mouse back. I've been trying to like remember to keep my back straight while I'm doing this stuff, right? Because obviously it's very easy to just lose your good posture if you're not paying attention. This is all good. Sick. Give me a landscape so I can see what a landscape looks like. I just don't want to have to go looking for one. I'm sure we'll find one soon. Oh, here's a thingy. Oop. I think I pay them on mobile. Present can't check. They definitely deserve it. That's so true. It's my excellent English accent. Man, this is a lot of Navmeshes that we're gonna have to go through. Sacrilegious, how long would it take you? How many do we have here? Let's approximate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 to a row. Those ones are what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's call that, let's say 10 on average. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, at least 13. So 13, what is that? 130. How long would it take you to reconcile 130 Navmeshes? You're my best time reference. I'll just, whatever it would take you, I'll just add significantly more time for me. $60 B2. Those B's look like 8s. And C2 E31. That's not a 2. Boom. That one's okay. U2. You guys are all good. Squeaky mouse wheel. Go dark while I plug my phone in. You got it, bro. You do whatever you need to do. Still no landscapes yet. That's okay. This one we might get some if it's like outside. That's fine. See, this is another one where, I mean, I guess maybe because the door is being deleted or something? But it's like, I'm wondering why this coordinate... I don't know why those are different. I guess we'll just have to wait and see if anything's weird. So, like, these are kind of tricky too, right? So, let's see, we have 4 different NPC references. Normally, what these would be for is placing an NPC in the world. So, when I look at this, right, I say, okay, Thadar, whoever Thadar is, I'm assuming like a Dawn of Skyrim. Sorry, yeah, Dawn of Skyrim NPC. These two would normally be placing this person within the world. This one's disabling them. That stands to reason that they're not just, like, with this patch, getting rid of this NPC. That's probably not the case. What they're probably doing is they have their own reference that is placing this NPC somewhere. Probably somewhere else. And we can find it if we... I'm betting that's the case. So let's go to Thadar. We're going to look at see what references him. We're looking for references within this patch. Yeah, okay. Yep, okay, so here's the two. Compare them. So here's the one that we just looked at, and here's the one that I'm assuming is proprietary. Yep. So here's its own reference that, for whatever reason, I don't know exactly why, but this patch is placing this NPC here, wherever this is. I'm sure there's a reason for it. But it's like stuff like that you start to pick up on after a while, right? Or like, what's another good example of that? This is why, like, conflict resolution just in and of itself will not necessarily solve all of your mod incompatibilities. Because the game can only... It's a computer, it's data. It can only show what's... You know, what the data is and whether or not it's being overwritten. It's not going to show what is sometimes a more complex interrelationship between what's being placed. A good example of that would be, like... you'll have, like, a lighting mod, right? Like, relighting Skyrim will... turn off certain mods. It'll disable certain lights within like an inn or something like that. And you'll think like, oh, why is this disabling this light? It's probably because, like with this, it's adding in its own light instance somewhere else in the cell, right? The issue there can be that, like, okay, if we have a mod like Realistic Inns and Taverns that completely adjusts the interiors of the inns and, like, adjusts where the light sources are, like maybe, you know, there used to be a big hearth in the center and now there's like a fire over here. Relighting Skyrim is not going to know about that change. There's no way that it could understand. And so what you'll get is, if you allow Relighting Skyrim to disable the original light source and add in its own light source, that light source is now over here where the fire used to be, but the fire's not there anymore. And so these are the kinds of things that you have to, like, anticipate. And you can really only do that with a bunch of, you know, just like with anything else. Like, you start to wrap your mind around it over time, having kind of dealt with that shit before. That stuff, excuse me. My poor potty mouth. But that's that's part of the fun, too. It's like, sometimes it's fun. Other times you're like, why doesn't this just work the way that I want it to? But... sometimes it can be really fun to, like, kind of trace bugs, right? Figure out what's going on. You always get that nice little dopamine release when you figure out why something is misbehaving. Ooh. It's like you're a detective. F7E94. Okay. CD8E0. I know that one's in there. I've seen this one a bunch of times. That one's okay. This one too, and that one. Come on, baby. Ooh. I don't think I've seen you guys. Nice. Excuse me. this one. These needed to... Wait a second. I feel like this one's in here too. Nope, guess not. Alright, never mind. You're fine. You're cool. You're cool. And you're cool too. Alright, cool. Any nav meshes we come across that we can leave alone, it's like a blessing. Just means less work for us. Why is this copied over? Oh, whatever. I guess I just forwarded the location data. This is the song that plays when you beat the game. Spoilers. God, that brings me back. Oops. Oh, thank God. Okay, so that one's done. What do we got? This one should be pretty... This one might be annoying. But honestly, I feel like these are going to be easy. Comparatively. Yes, please. Thank you. Thank you very much. Merciful heavens. To be almost done with the... Just because it's so boring after a while. It's like look at the same kinds of records. Or just be like... You're not getting to make any sort of exciting changes. It's just the nature of the beast. But it's like I've been looking at the same Navmesh records and like checking them for the past pretty much all week. So close. This is where it gets dangerous because this is where I'm prone to make mistakes. When I'm like almost done with like a chunk of plugins and I don't want to look at them anymore. I have to be especially cautious. Okay. Outlaw OCS, Skyrim series, Outlaw Refute. See, like this is... This I have no fucking clue. I guess that's part of the new data. Navmesh info map. Here we go. Tamriel. This is all... Why are these disabled? This doesn't make sense to me. Oh, these are the map markers. I did disable these on purpose. So that you actually won't be able to see where... You don't get like a big old spoiler message for the map markers for the outlaw refuges, I wanted it to be more of a secret than that. Okay. See, I forget sometimes. That's why I really wish that I had, like, inline notation. Whoops. Hold up. Am I? This is a weird thing to add. Is chat still working? Can someone chat in the chat just to let me know if it's working? Oh, yeah, there we go. Beep you. Okay, no, so we're still good. Come on, baby. So close. That's fine. 10 minutes. You're chill, alright. Oh god. See, Bannerlord soundtrack would be nice ambience. Oh hell yeah, I should do that. When Morrowind runs out, Connor, I'll do it. 1, 2. Whoops. I know these are in here. It's like I check them every time anyway, just to be thorough, but like this is why it's so fucking mind-numbing. I think it's worth it. It's just like it's monotonous. Ow. Never truly enjoyed Bannerlord soundtrack. Always bugged. What? Like it's not playing properly? In the game? I feel like that has happened to us a couple times in multiplayer, where it's like music should be playing, but it's not. I know that one's in there. I'm not even gonna bother. It gets harder with these plugins too, because it's like at this point, you can almost assume that you've seen because like this patch touches so many of the same records, it's like a safe assumption relatively that there's nothing you haven't seen yet, but it's like you still have to check every single one, because what if there is something that you missed? To me, that's the kind of, it's that last 5% attention to detail that you gotta get in there. I mean, if you don't do it now, you'll miss it eventually, or sorry, you'll see it in game and then you realize you missed it eventually. Okay, that one's okay. Boom. That one looks a little different. FEAE7. Okay, we're good. So close. Last subblock, Solitude Origin. What do you got for me? That one I know is in there. CAD 79. And then this one should be super tiny. Outlaw Refuge Progression Patch. This is a cool mod that basically just makes it so that the Outlaw Refuges kind of look cooler as you progress through the storyline, the Thieves Guild questline, which I really like. Block 4. All good. Okay, Skyrim Unbound Open Cities. This one might have a bit to it, but it should be mostly like allowed to overwrite at this point. Yeah, what is this? Okay, good to go. This one's gonna be tiny. Guys, this is it for the Open Cities world space edits. Wet Goat Holiday Marker. Please, please, please. Nothing too crazy. This is what you like to see. All this green. It just means you don't gotta worry about shit. For the most part. Generally speaking. Oops. Oh, what are you? I knew we were gonna get a couple of these, but they've already been edited. If you have to see some red, seeing the orange text is the best thing that you can hope for. Hey T. Doing great. Just doing conflict resolution. The most exciting part of building a mod list. Oh, hey, what's up, Inigo? Gotcha. Yes, of course. What's this is a different account? Name change, not sure really. Oh, you changed it. I thought you meant that the name changed automatically and you didn't know why. Sometimes you just gotta mix it up, you know? Just feeling it. Oh. Up to just conflict resolve. Do you ever finish the NPC overhaul, or is that still work in progress? I mean, it's pretty much done, Yosi. The only NPCs that are not covered yet would be the ones that are just kind of like stragglers in like some of the what's it called, the NPC plugins. But I'd say that like I'd be surprised if there's more than 10% that haven't been covered already. I have the super sick. Hold on a second. Let me bring up my spreadsheet. It's like the other. It's not finished, I suppose, in the sense that like most of them, I still need to like verify in game that everyone looks like, you know, pretty legit, and I still need to forward their face gens. Excuse me. And by looking legit, I mean I just need to make sure that the NPC appearance selections that I've made for each NPC are what I want for like the end product. Making sure, you know, people aren't like over beautified and all that kind of stuff. That's a big one for me. Excuse me. Oh, thank God. Guys, we did it. So we're all the way through the town city chunks. Oh, thank God. Realistic room rental is going to be pretty sizable, but still, honestly, not as bad in my mind. At least it's something new. You know what I mean? Riverwood Sleeping Giant Inn. What's conflicting here? I don't know why that data is there. That's okay. Navmesh. That's fine. More sell item edits. There's going to be some stuff here, though. We need to forward this. L2 static. Here's where we generally want to defer to realistic room rental, because it has the, it should have the kind of the final say on what's inside these inns. Boom. Now this could be an interesting one. Scale. Okay, so we don't want to let that. We're going to let this go. The lights are going to be annoying, I bet you. Hopefully not too annoying, but if... It'll be annoying if Relighting Skyrim tries to add a bunch of proprietary light sources instead of editing the ones that are already existent. If it does the ones that are already existent, we're good to go. If it adds its own, it's going to suck. See, things like this. So this is like, I don't know what you'd call this. It's like an overarching record for a cell. So in this case, the Wind Peak Inn, right? And here, like this stuff is all just like lighting data, but you got to make sure this is forwarded. This is an important one because this is the Sounds of Skyrim acoustic space. So if you don't have this forwarded, the game won't recognize the inn as a Sounds of Skyrim location, and then Sounds of Skyrim won't get to place its like sound markers and shit, or like its ambient sounds. That's all good. Abalone, I know her. Okay, so that just places her in a different spot. That's fine. This is fine too. I can do this. I can make it persistent, I suppose. I don't know why Sanctuary Reborn wants it persistent. Oh yeah, so here's our lights. So same thing. We need the lights to be where realistic room rental tells them to be. I don't know why this is persistent either. I'm not super familiar with the persistent flags. I don't know why some things need to be persistent and other things don't need to be. That's why this shit is... There's... I swear to God, it's like when you think that there's... When you know everything, you don't. There's always something more to learn. Which is cool. It's one of the things that makes it fun. But it's intimidating to people, I think. There's like so much to wrap your mind around. That's all okay. It's like more idle markers here is changing the location of these things. Yeah, Connor, this is the reprise of Nerevar Rising. Or is this just the regular one? Yeah, this is the reprise. So this is the Elder Scrolls theme now, essentially. But this is an exclusive track to the or it's a track exclusive to the, what service released this? Direct Song. I bought this like years and years ago, but it's a reprise of the main theme that is really rad. Okay, this is fine. Money well spent. Yeah, it was only $300, if you can believe it. What a steal. Y'all are good. This is fine. You're done. More idle markers. So this is an interesting one. Warm hands stand idle. So normally this would be restricted to Karita, but more idle markers wants to open it up for everyone, it seems. So we'll let it do that, and we'll make sure the location is forwarded. Oh yeah, of course, the Dagoth wave. It's beautiful. Interesting. I'm actually going to give another one here. We need as many idle markers as we can get. Okay. Yeah, so here we go. So this is a good indicator that realistic room rental is going to, or sorry, relighting Skyrim. If it's disabling this light, that means it's added its own, most likely. So that means we're going to need to check this cell for added lights. This one would be interesting. So what we can do is forward the light data from relighting Skyrim, but the location of realistic room rental. And now we got to jump here. Yes, so you can see, there you go. There's your added light source. So I'm going to copy as override, and this one's going to be disabled. Get rid of these flags. Disabled. Where is it initially disabled? Haha. Put it down 4,000, 30,000 Z's down into the ground. We're going to jump back. Bing, bang, boom. Ugh. Oh, shit. I got tight shoulders, yo. Turns out working at a computer desk all week long will do that. How's your guys' week? How you doing? I've been talking about mine. Hopefully everyone's had a good week. Yeah, Connor, you know that life. You know what I'm talking about. And we're a double dose of sitting at computers, because we sit at a computer when we're working, we sit at a computer when we're playing. Ow! Oh, God. Oh, my God. Feels so good, though, right, when you crack your back? I do try and stretch, like, every so often. Get, like, a good stretch in. It's important. For strong bones. Okay. So these actually should work out nicely. I like when relighting Skyrim is using the same light sources, because I want to keep its changes. I just need to know that it's going to be in the right location. Like so. This one sucks because it's disabled. We're going to have to go and disable the ones that are in relighting Skyrim again. You should be one, I'm going to assume, unless it adds in more. Oh, it actually adds in several. That's not good. Why? That's weird. Okay, well, let's look at the rough location. 181, negative 750, 181. You can't always rely on that, though. Looks like it could be that. That's not easy to tell, to be honest. Okay. What are you doing? And why is it adding all these lights? The problem is I don't know which one of these it is. Maybe I can look at the 126. Is that going to help me? I mean, it probably doesn't matter, but we can always just like pop in there, see if anything looks super out of place or whatever. I'm just going to leave it alone for now. Wait a second. Oh, whoops. I was going to say this is not where we were. Here's where we are. Okay. Is Sounds of Skyrim trying to jump in here? No? Alright. Oh, the songs. I love this song a lot. God, this takes me back to when I was a youth. A wee baby child. Okay, that's fine, because they're both disabling them. What do we got here? Alright, perfect. That's what I like to see. Just slight little tiny adjustments. Just little baby trees. Nothing too big. Nothing too crazy. You know how it goes. Ow. Meat barrel, huh? That's all okay. That might be a problem, actually. Jeez, what cell is this again? Old Holden Inn. There's a lot. I guess this is... It makes sense because realistic room rental makes a huge change to the interior of this location. Nice. That's okay. You can go there. That's fine. Oh, this is kind of a problem. I just realized some of these are being disabled, and that probably means that both of these are adding, so we're probably going to get like double light sources. I mean, that is a static. Oh, maybe not, actually. Not in the form of a static. Okay. We good. Never mind. False alarm. I'm sure you guys were just terrified at the prospect of that. Don't worry. I'm here to reassure you. Everything is fine. Just about made me jump. Me too, Campiati. I'm so relieved. Alright, so this one's going to be annoying. Alright, but only that one. Cool. The position is weird. Okay. Oi. Same thing. There's a lot. Dunno. Oh boy. Yes, this one's tricky. Gotcha. Oh, it ran out of music. Alright, let's go. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? The Bannerlord soundtrack. No, the Resident Evil 2 soundtrack. Can I play this without getting demonetized? I hope so. Oh, fuck. There it is. That's so loud. Let's turn that down just a smidge. How's that? Beautiful. What a great idea, Connor. Makes me want to play Bannerlord, actually. It's been a little while. I just want to have time to play video games. That sounds good. That's funny. Why is there more item markers suggesting location of plates? Yeah, it is really catchy. My head is super, or was super sunburned, now it's peeling. Turns out when you shave your head bald, you have to put sunscreen on your head when you're going out in the sun. Who would have thought? Beautiful. Actually, it is really beautiful. This is a good idea, Connor. It's like relaxing. Sounds like an asteroid track, I think. Hard to tell sometimes. I mean, I know that I've never even been over to where the asteroid desert is, and I hear this song all the time. This is the picture that they have up for it. Beautiful. Whoops. I didn't look back. I was like, what the hell am I looking at all of a sudden? It's pretty making me want to take a nap. Oh, what have I done? Oh. This is kind of a problem. Yeah, it's a lot. Okay, let's add this one to the list. Is this 0403? Oh, it's already on the list. Alright, sweet. What's your general FPS been like so far in testing this build off stream? It varies, Lakobi. I mean, I would say in the cities, which is where you really want to have the... Oh, God. The FPS, it can be anywhere between, like, 30 to 60, to be honest. But that's always with a bunch of other shit running. And, like, maxed out ENB and everything else, graphics. Yeah, Siege song woke me up for sure. So epic. Okay. Best part. References. What the fuck? I guess it has its own. God, this music is so docile, it just makes me want to take a nap. So potentially 3. F1, F3, boys. Superior tacticianing. Dude, don't worry about it. No one else is chatting. Hog it as much as you like, as much as you please. I'm just here doing my conflict resolution. I don't know if I've ever heard that part of the song. Have you, Connor? This sounds Aserai to me. It's also called Aserai theme, so yeah, I think you're right. Isn't it weird how, I mean, we talked about this in the last stream too, isn't it weird how when you hear a song like over and over and over again, like any slight deviation, your brain just like immediately picks up on? Try the Baldur's Gate 3 early access. I have not, Lakobi. I've watched people play it though. I watched Balian play it for a while. Looks fucking so sick. I'm really excited for that game. Just kind of waiting until I have time to give it a ye old college try, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, another thing about conflict resolution is you get to hear that sound a lot. Like the Windows, I don't know if it's an error sound or what you'd call it. It's definitely something. what I've mostly been playing at the time. I have 150 plus games on Steam. All I play is Skyrim. Sure, part of me just wants to wait till it's released. Yeah, I mean, I feel it's a huge investment. It's, you know, this epic campaign, and also I'm sure that the player generated content is going to be a huge part of it. So I'm kind of like, I don't really have time right now to play it. So I'm happy to, you know, just kind of let it incubate for a while. What I was going to say is the kind of the little bit of gaming time that I've had lately, I've been playing Hades, which is super fucking good. Are these like referenced? So weird. I'm glad that the early access was as successful as it was in terms of sales. That's pretty cool. That makes me happy. I really like Larian Studios. A whole heckin' lot. Asteroid campaign theme. Let's see here. What are you doing? Ambi Tavern. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, I'm gonna do this. Whoops. The Winking Skeever. Man, I really hope I don't have COVID. I think it's a... Oh! Here's one that needs to be edited. This one might be in there too. 1, 6... It is. I see it. See anything from the game Medieval Dynasty? Medieval Dynasty. Not heard of it. What's the deal? This, I am well familiar with this song. The Expedition. Oh, shit. Okay, hold on a second. This just makes me think that I made a mistake in one of the... I mean, I guess I'll find it when I go through AI overhaul. But this, I'm pretty sure, player bed ownership faction, they're making it so that people won't come in and sit in your chair. Oh well, I'll scoop it up with AI overhaul. Desert Storm, huh? I feel like this always plays whenever I do tournaments. Also, I remember hearing this a lot when I'm dead. In the game, that is. Most recently bought Jedonia, open world game made by one man. Interesting. Let me look it up real fast. Jedonia on Steam. Whoa. Pause. Let me see here. Oh, you know what? I've seen this person. I've commented on this person's posts in Reddit Indie Dev before. Right. I've commented on this dude's he was like post about animations. I was like, oh, this looks super cool. For one dude, this already looks so good. I cannot stress like how difficult it is to like be a solo dev. Like you just have to do everything, you know what I mean? Like he's got to animate. There is so much stuff that I can get away with not doing because there's, you know, so many different mods that kind of like handle it. Look, there's a building system. Oh my god. Very cool. Very cool. Sure. I mean, this stands to reason. All this. How much is he charging for it? I mean, for $12, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I do recognize that $12 can be a lot. Like, if it's your entertainment budget, but like, for $12, like everything that I just saw. I'm not saying that this review's criticisms are incorrect by any means. They're probably correct, but it's like, you really are like, that already looks like $12 of content to me. You know what I'm saying? God, I spent $12 on so much dumber shit than that. Like, oh man, I'll pay. Well, once upon a time when it wasn't coronavirus, like I'll spend $14 on a fucking cocktail. Very cool. I'm glad I finally know the name of that game because I've seen him post on those subreddits. Like I said, very cool. Thanks for the rec, Praxis. Community people make videos about character creation. Rad. Building a community is like another. It's such a difficult thing. And it's like when you're a solo dev, that's another part of like I'm very lucky that we have the team to help out with all different kinds of stuff, especially the community building, because it's tough to do on your own. Like I did it mostly on my own for like 2 years or so, and to work your way up from like this guy's developing a solo dev game, to work your way up from like 0 people know what the fuck your game is. You know what I mean? Like it's really a difficult thing. You have to be the developer, also marketing, and everything in between. Not easy. Okay. Oh, God. Excuse me. The Maiden is the name of this song. Make it persistent. What's the point of making like a light persistent? Especially for like a follower overhaul. Like, look, I should just edit like this. Because look how small I am in the frame. Sometimes this is like, when I've been sitting for a long time, I will legitimately do these changes, or like conflict resolution like this. It's like, hey, what up? It's your boy, Belmont Boy here. Got a bunch of Skyrim. Like, I got a bunch of Skyrim for you. Embedded face light? What does that mean? Praxis. Like, do I have face lighting for my setup here? No, definitely not. Wait, no. Here. Oh. Oh, man. Oh. My abs are cramping. Whoa. Ow, I don't know why that just happened. Oh, damn, that hurt. Because my abs are so sore from all those sick ab workouts that I do all the time. So I'm so jacked. I saw, I don't know if this is what you're talking about, Praxis, but I saw Quinn69, the Path of Exile streamer. There was a post on Livestream Fail the other day where I guess he has a thing you can redeem your stream points for, where you can like set off a flashbang with his like lights that he has set up. There's a mod called Face Light so you can see NPC faces. Oh, I feel you. Hey, Crewmaster. That's interesting. Is it like? Oh, it's like why you would need a persistent light. That's possible. It'd just be strange for that mod to be using this light for that, right? I mean, it's possible. I don't know. You'd think they'd add their own light in though, but that's also like assuming that, like, not every modder is like thinking about compatibility with like other things. But I mean, that's as reasonable an explanation as any, I suppose. But yeah. Anyway, you could flashbang this guy with your stream points like in the middle of content, which is really funny. I really like it a lot. It gave me a giggle, you know. Requirements for Alt Sky. It's hard to say what the SE requirements are going to be, but I mean, I would say take whatever the SE basic requirements are, crank them up a little bit, and that should be it. Or if at all, I don't know. I feel like it should be playable for most. Oh, we done it. Holy shit. We finished all the cell edits. Nice. That's the bulk of stuff in this. This type O mod. Need a place to stay. Well, you've come to the right place. Some of these are... Whatever, I'll just leave that for now. The problem... There's like... I tried to make it... I always felt it was confusing in realistic room rental, where you have like the extended stay options as like a secondary like answer. I wish I could kind of meld it into one, which I might do later, but I'm not going to do it now. Excuse me. High energy stream, that's for sure. Where should I put this? Boom. Software requirements does depend on anything specific, mod organizer or other apps. I mean, mod organizer ships with it, Krabmaznu, and with the new launcher, you're really like, there'll be a, you know, an executable, and then the launcher will take care of the rest. It can open up mod organizer too, if you need to, but we're trying to make it as simple as possible. So it'll be like pre-packaged, just like, you know, you download, Wabajack downloads it, you get your game, you fire it up, wow, good to go. What is this? Root cost. What is this? Oh god, this music's terrifying. I'm so scared. Navmesh package. Ooh. You go. Go. Hygiene. A couple of world space edits. Farmhouse door. What do you got for me? Baba is you. Who's this Navmesh? What are you doing? Did we already look at this one? FF. Oh. This one needs adding too. Packaged into one ESP. Oh no, that's definitely not the case. I mean, it still has a bunch of different plugins, but it's like Wabajack is a tool that will download the entire mod list for you. And then I take care of all the conflict resolution. I add in the proprietary features, and you won't even have to open Mod Organizer to run the game if you use our launcher. It'll just fire it up like it's a regular old game. Been watching. I like Squad Praxis. I have a friend who's been trying to get us to play it for like forever. I would like to play it. It looks super cool. I like it a lot. I like the feeling of being like a cog in the wheel, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, Arma 3 is awesome, Connor. You're probably already aware of it. Have you seen Soviet Womble's Arma 3 videos? I hear this one a lot because my campaign is in Botania. This is the Botania theme. Any word about the early release? That is what I'm still working on, Sicario. It's just plunking along. So I'm still aiming for the end of the year. Will there be options what to include or not? Not really, Krabmaznu. I mean, some of the mods have, you know, you can disable them in-game. But for the most part, I mean, you can not use the visual mods. But otherwise, it's generally kind of a locked down experience. Or, I mean, you can always adjust it yourself if you know how to mod. But for the vast majority of people, it's kind of like pre-baked, you might say. Boom. RRR patch for what? Oh, cutting room floor. Okay. Boom, baby. No R&D active. What is this patch again? I ain't even remember. Oh, it removes the like, kegs and activators and shit. I remember. I recall now. I recall. Riften. Use as a base and then build upon it myself in MO2. Yes! Yes, you can. 60 days. The beta. I would not bet money on that, Cisco. It's still very possible that it's going to take longer than that. It's still my target internally, but it's tricky to estimate. You can remove stuff from it if you know how to mod. That's really, if you know how to mod, you can do pretty much whatever you want. Because I mean, it's just a mod list. You know what I mean? It'll install it. It installs it on your computer as it's installed on my computer. And at that point, you know, it's just a bunch of mods that are there. And Mod Organizer 2 will see it just like the way as if you had installed it on your own computer manually, bit by bit. Whiterun Banner the Mayor. Dead Man's Drink. Just removing stuff is kind of a complex process, or it can be. I'd say arguably a bit more complex than adding things. But if you know what you're doing, it's no sweat. Try it out as a separate MO2 project. Well, so what it'll do, it'll install a completely new instance of Mod Organizer 2, because you don't want it to just be a different profile. If you do that, it's going to fuck with your pre-existing installed mods. Or like if you change something on one of your profiles, it can affect the other ones. It's not quite as clean. So you'll essentially have like your own separate instance of Mod Organizer 2 specifically for Ultimate Skyrim. Wabjack installs a new instance. Yes. That's what we have always done. Automaton, Wabjack, everything. Just that way it's guaranteed non-destructive. That's the important bit. You don't want to be overriding anything unnecessarily. Invasion. It's another scary track. Oh boy. Woo! Woo! Will I still be able to use my regular MO2 on days I want to play? Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole kind of point of having a separate MO2 instance, is that your other one will be untouched. This song is just called Invasion, Connor. It doesn't say anything like Empire specific or faction specific, I should say. There's a lot of tracks in here. Sturgia theme's coming up way later. Boo boo. Rhythmic drums give me that long shit vibe. Oh, hell yeah. What's the download size up to so far? That is hard to say exactly, because I can check on this. The problem is there's mods installed on my build that are not going into the final build. But the full thing is pretty big. It's like a freaking like a. Let that populate. And we'll check on it in a moment. Nice, nice, nice. Still populating. Take it SKSE is required to and will be included. Yes. So the whole Crabmaster, have you ever used like a Wabbajack install by chance? I would like if you want to get a feel for it and you haven't, I would go ahead and try out one of the existing mod lists, but pretty much the whole idea is that everything you need, it'll take care of for you, like the installer will. And then from the game perspective, we take care of the rest. We kind of set up what it's supposed to be, and then Wabbajack executes everything it needs to match the install. Vortex browsing Nexus. Gotcha. See, I would recommend trying out Wabbajack, and that'll give you kind of like a sense of what it's like. Ours is a little bit different because we have, you'll still do the Wabbajack install, but we'll be shipping our own launcher on top of that, which kind of simplifies the process further. So it, more or less, it's kind of like just the way you would install any like game. You know, you download it, like it installs. Then you click run, and then it just kind of goes. We're kind of going for that one-click play. That's the goal, anyway. Oh, my eyes. I just don't blink. Oh, the victory. Botania victory. I hear this one all the time. Is my character Botanian? He must be. Is the mod list locked yet? As in, like, am I adding additional mods? If that's the question, not really. I mean, visual mods are not exactly set in stone yet, but at least for the initial build, kind of all of the mods, like the gameplay mods and functional mods, are pretty locked in. But this is, even like that initial build, it's just, you know, it's the tip of the iceberg for what we want to do with this bad boy. There's plenty more, like hundreds and hundreds of additional mods that I would like to add. Down the road, that is. What are your thoughts on the Cyberpunk 77 modding scene? Hope it doesn't like the Wild Hunt. It's I mean, The Witcher, I don't really know that much about kind of the modding CD Projekt Red games. I know that The Witcher had some mods And Connor actually knows more than I do about that. He has messed around with Witcher mods. I don't know how much you can do, or if they made their like tools available. Something tells me it'll be a bit less flexible than something like, you know, a Bethesda game, but everything is less flexible than a Bethesda game. I'm gonna save right quick, just in case. I'd like to see what'll be included. I can give you a quick copy of the mod list. Here. Let me see what the problem is. Even like the mod list here is not going to be, or it might not be super useful, because there's a lot here that is not installed. Here, you can do this. There's a paste bin. Okay. Here we go. Create new paste. Wild Hunt has a modding kit. So in mid-2019, Witcher 3 mods got a lot better because somebody figured out how to implement brand new quests. Gotcha. Here's a paste bin for chat. Hopefully chat will let me do it. So that has the mod list. The thing is that any mod that starts with a hyphen instead of a plus is not actually turned on right now. But you can see anything. I would like sort by pluses if possible, with like, you know, or actually, you know what? Maybe that's a better idea. I can do that. Notepad ++. No. 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 Oh God. Okay. Nope. Oops. Here. Let me... Where's my mod list again? Did I close it? I guess I did. Oh yeah, let's check this out. So as of right now, it's 126 gigs, but that's a bit bigger than what it's going to end up being. That's the full, sick, final install. It's pretty sizable. Excuse me. I'm yawning. Okay, let's do this. Go here. Wait. And then sort. Line operations. Sort as lexicographically ascending. Okay, there you go. So again, there's a lot of stuff that's not installed here that would be. Like later. You can delete that. And then here you go. Where is my paste bin? Where's it gone? There we go. Wait, nope. Apparently it's not right either. There we go. New paste, please. Yeah, I've been meaning to try living Skyrim. It looks really cool. Create new paste. Okay, this is a better one. Boom. Wait, oops. There it is. Living Skyrim is one of the Wabbajack mod lists currently available for a special edition. Okay, so where are we at? More auto markers. How many remain? Oh, that's actually not bad. Not bad at all. You know what? I wonder if there's a full featured. I'll say that for it. Cool. How so, Praxis? What's the, if you could give me a pitch, because I don't know a ton about it. I just know that it exists. Oh yeah, I want to see it. Freaking more aisle markers. Realistic, no, Perseids patch. That'd be really nice. Otherwise, we'll probably have. Let's see here. Okay, that's not helpful. Oh, what? Oh, I downloaded something. What? Oh, this is where I got this from. Right. Oh. I haven't downloaded this yet. Why is this not... Okay. Well. Download this. That's good to have. Bought an SSD 256 just for Alt Sky. Hopefully we can keep it underneath there. Is there any... That other bit is cool though. This is cool. Yeah, I mean I like that one. Okay, weird. Oh well. Yeah, I mean that's what I would do. The download, or like it's all you can put it on a disk, right, that has the space for it, and then you can just move the install. That's what I would suggest doing. Of Kings and Men. Oh, excuse me. Alright guys, I got about 15 minutes left in this stream, so if you got any sick questions to throw my way, feel free, please. Should be there. Perf. Come on, baby. I feel like most of these are going to be pretty simple at this point, too. Yeah. Stuff that I already heckin' patched. Oh well, looks like some of these idle markers will have to be placed manually. Keep my downloads folder on a mechanical disk. I feel you. See, there's one sweet bud. Hold Frozen Hearth. Everyone's favorite. There's nobody whose favorite inn is the Frozen Hearth, I bet you. Maybe some people. Never say never. jam. It's like, I've died so many times listening to this song, you wouldn't even believe it. M4 from the new Ryzen. Nice. That's I was like considering it actually myself. I'm just waiting to get a graphics card. Just updated my administer potions mod. Nice. You add some new features or something, Sacrilegious. Access to that. Gotcha. Lots of people will be building new PCs this winter. That's all new stuff being released from AMD and from Nvidia. Ain't that the truth? Just like to get my hands on a graphics card. That's so much to ask. Just want to buy I just want to spend my hard-earned money on a consumer product. Can't be done. Hey Charmed, how you doing? Hello, hello. Oh fuck. Empire Campaign 2. My specs right now, my graphics card's pretty good. It's a 1080. It's not a 1080 Ti, but it's a 1080. And weird. My processor was really, really good like 8 years ago. I have an i7 4790K and an ancient motherboard and ancient RAM. Ancient by computer standards, that is. I'm about due for a real system-wide rebuild. TBH. Also, I'm hoping these records will fix Feralda not showing up outside, as she's wont to do. Poor dog eating Silverblood in. Nice. Yeah, I'm really excited to see the AMD GPUs as well. I heard a little bit about them. A lot more idle markers. Oh god. So here's a problem where we just have a shit ton of idle markers, and I'm sure they have no idea about Perseids, but they're probably not going to conflict with anything because they're proprietary. So for conflict resolution, nice and easy. But later we're going to have to load them in. In fact, here, I'll make a note of this. We'll have to load in all idle marker and in mods to move idle markers around properly. 2600K at 4.6 gigahertz underwater, vintage DDR3. Hell yeah, Praxis, you and me. I'm running DDR3 as well. 1078 gigabyte. I rated a new one in this PC, but the rest of my system is more ancient than yours. From 2011 needs a modded BIOS to boot from an NV. Yeah, I have a PC. That stuff didn't exist right. So like here, I'll show you my motherboard. It might be a smidge newer, but it's about the same. It's the Z95 Gaming 7. Gaming 5? Z97 Gaming 5. That's what it is. This bad boy. With the sick gamer colors. No, not you. Not this window. This window, I guess I'll just drag it over. MSI wants to know my location. Boom. Look at this bad boy. Supports 4th and 5th gen Intel Core Pentium Celeron processors for LGA 1150. Socket. Got DDR3. Nice. Sick. It does say it supports M2, so I don't know. It's got killer Ethernet to kill your lag. Oh yeah, and I forgot. It came with some sort of like trial of XSplit Gamecaster back when that was like an option. When did this motherboard come out? Is there a way to see? Search release date, perhaps? Say release date. This is just to buy it. To have nothing at least for a year. Okay, so here's a review from 2014, so not quite as old. Yeah, I guess 2011. That's pretty old, but not new by computer standards. Scusi. What are we doing? This should be easy enough. Guys, we actually made some pretty decent progress conflict resolution wise in this stream. I don't normally do that. Normally I'm just talking about one thing or another. Dragon Bridge. Four Shields Tavern. The i7 3830K first version socket 2011. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I think even with the 6 cores, the newer architecture manages to outpace it. Think about how exciting it'll be, though, to get new stuff. Brand new. Are you going to go with an AMD? Are you going to get a Intel? I'm kind of torn, to be honest with you. No snow under the roof. Oh, there's going to be a lot of these. Oh, maybe not. This song's a jam. I don't think I've ever heard this one. Single core benchmarks. Yeah, not great. Makes sense. It's an old processor. KS hairdos. Look at this. Look at all those hairdos. Wow, that's a ton of hairdos. KS hairdos. Paraguay. Ominous. I wish someone would describe my hairstyle as ominous. I guess they might actually right now. Yeah, like white supremacists and stuff have shaved heads like this. That's pretty ominous. Oh, here we go. These guys. Double distilled skooma. Placing a bunch of NPCs, I'm sure. Oh, also idle markers. Interesting. Also, say some follower mods add idle markers. Probably sort by idle markers in xEdit to identify all mods pertinent beforehand. AMD all the way. Ryzen 3 kicks the best. Intel has the curve, and it's cheaper too. Oh, hey, those Ryzen fucking computers or processors, rather, they really are something special. At least it seems that way to me. What is this business? This making lights persistent again. This mod. What is it doing? Fan of the OG mod pack level playthroughs. Don't really watch the streams. I don't understand this part. Don't blame you at all. I follow you to support you anyways. I'm sure you've been asked this 1,000 times. What do you think is the ETA on the release? Thank you very much for the support, Fourth Dimension. I'm trying to, get like a holiday release for that first version. It's pretty likely that it might take a bit longer than that. But, I mean, I'm trying my best. That's what I'm here doing today. The sooner there is a release, or once we have information that we're comfortable disseminating, you'll know about it. I promise I will make it known to everybody. What is this song? Age of War. Nice. Some cards are more SAT slots than my boot SSD died. That sucks. Me too, Fourth Dimension. I'm so stoked. I want to get through conflict resolution. I want to get this shit up in there. I want to get Requiem up in there. It's like, right now, it's not even fun to play test. It's fun to play test and, like, look at the graphics and stuff. That's cool. But from, like, a gameplay perspective, it's not fun at all. Ooh, look at this one. Here's one that we don't have yet. Because it's like vanilla gameplay. You know what I mean? Long stream. 3 hours is like what I try to shoot for, Connor. I've just not been able to the past couple weeks. Requiem is not officially ported to SE yet. They're working on it, 4th Dimension. There's an unofficial port, which seems to work fine, and I can use that as a basis if I need to. And then upgrade as Requiem goes. But Requiem I'm adding in as like one of the final little bits. So once I go through this, depending on where the Requiem team is at with their project, I'll make a game time decision. Yeah, I don't know this one either, Connor. This is the Khuzaits. Requiem is the core, like, overhaul that Ultimate Skyrim is built on top of. It's essentially like a massive rescaling of the world. So, like, it's not leveled anymore. It's a lot closer to, like, classic hardcore CRPGs. And it's really designed so that, like, at the beginning you're just like it kind of transfers the game, or transforms it rather, from a power fantasy into like a truly immersive RPG experience, in that you really have to earn your progression, and enemies are really fucking hard. Like, even trying to kill like another human off the bat, like in vanilla Skyrim, like from level 1 you could probably just kind of storm into a bandit camp and kill whoever you want, and that's definitely not the case in Requiem. So in vanilla Skyrim, and also most Bethesda games, enemies are leveled according to your player's level. So, you know, at a baseline, the higher your character's level, the higher the enemy level, and vice versa. When your character's low level, so are the enemies. That's called level scaling. And Requiem removes that, so that bandits are, like, a bandit is a good example. A bandit that is level 20 when you're level 1 will also be level 20 when you're level 40. And that goes at, like, whatever levels a wolf is, that's the level that it's going to be throughout the whole game. So that's what really allows you to feel that progression. The whole idea is that, you know, like, if you wander outside the city and you're just like a level 1 character with no skills or no gear, nothing, a wolf is gonna whoop your ass, because a wolf would whoop your ass. Like, it's like if I went out to try and fight a rabid wolf, like IRL, probably would not fare so well. Don't get me wrong, you know, I try to lift a weight now and then, but I probably would not do super well. I'm can admit that. And that's kind of the experience that Requiem simulates. That's like what you are as a level 1 character. And when you level up, you get this really cool... Won't that make the game super hard early on and a cakewalk later? Yes, exactly. It takes quite a lot, depending on your build, to get to a point where it's a cakewalk. And there's content designed for each kind of a part of the progression curve, you would say. But this is commonly the Requiem experience, is that very early on, like, taking down a single bandit is a challenge, a significant challenge. And that's kind of the trade-off. So you kind of get that more peaks and valleys, we'll say, progression curve, versus the vanilla experience, which is kind of just the same level of difficulty all the way through the game. Like, Requiem is like this. Like, let me draw you a picture. It sounds like you pretty much already got it anyway, but in case this helps. Here is Requiem's progression curve. We'll say this is kind of true, more or less. We'll call this difficulty over time. Time, difficulty. It's kind of like that. Where your y-axis is the difficulty, the bottom is time. So it starts out extremely hard and can get... But it's more realistically, it's like this. Let's say I'm going to do a second line here. More realistically, it's like that. Because you're kind of... like different enemy types, right, are present different challenges and stuff. And, you know, you'll get badass enough to where something like a bandit is not a big deal anymore, but then you try and take on something like, you know, a Falmer cave, or like even like a wolf pack, or like something where there's a lot of different types of enemies or whatever, and you'll encounter issues that way. And this is by contrast to vanilla Skyrim's difficulty curve, which I'll make a third line here, which is like this. That flat line. Actually, you know what? Here, I take that back. Imagine it's this flat line, frankly. This beautiful graph. It's this one. That flat line, because in vanilla Skyrim, at least in my opinion, nothing is ever difficult, really. And that's about as difficult as it gets throughout the whole game. So the idea is, like, to me, and I think people who like Requiem, what's the point of having a character leveling system if you're going to have the exact same level of difficulty all the way through the game, no matter what you choose? Right, exactly. Charmed Barian. That is exactly it. I mean, every fight in vanilla Skyrim is, you know, two things enter, one thing leaves. They stand in one spot and kind of waggle at each other until the one with the most health wins. So it's designed to make things a little different than that, you might say. And also, I just realized it's 3 o'clock, and I am starving. Technically, Skyrim isn't always the same difficulty. Encounter zones vary. It may way too similar. Yes, that is fair. It is not as if every enemy is just the exact same level as you. But I don't... It's even like shit. Like, even if you have, what's it called, like a level zone, like 10 through 30. Like, if you're level 10, they're not going to give you level 30 enemies, because there's like a limit on how far they'll allow an enemy to be away from you, right, in terms of level. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure. That's how it was in Oblivion anyway. How it seemed in the Sky of Rim. This is another jam. Wrath of the Khan. Man, I need to jump back into Bannerlord. Guys, where's all the time? Where's the time to play video games? Vanilla and Legendary is too easy later in the game. Ultimate enchantment. In an activate place, they'll always be statically offset from your effective level, same way, right? And then it like caps out at a certain point, right? Where it's like, okay, we'll stop making this guy 5 levels above because he's reached the cap. Alright guys, well, that's gonna about do it for me. I gotta go eat some lunch before I pass out. Thank you all for joining me. I appreciate it. I know that this kind of content is probably not the most engaging, but hopefully some of you enjoy it, because it's just unfortunately a reality of what we gotta get through before we have some actual gameplay. Some actual content. You know what I mean? Which I'm very excited about. And I appreciate your patience and your understanding and being here for me. As always, thank you very much. Let's go see who's online. Our boy George. I love saying that because I like saying boy George. It's just great. Alright, we're going to pause that. Twitch. Of course, happy to answer whatever questions you got. Thank you for your interest in the project and for your support. Pause. I'll max this window out. Who's online? We got George. Oh, we got Nabursky's online too. We should raid him instead today. We always raid George. George is the best. Nabursky's super awesome. as well, and he doesn't get as much love because he's not usually streaming when I am. All right, guys, we're going to raid Nabursky. For those of you who are not familiar with our man Nabursky, he is a good friend of Sacroletius's, and he's a really awesome role-playing content creator. Extremely nice dude, and I highly recommend his streams. All right, here we go. Nabursky. I think I spelled that right. Slam. Are they Skyrim people? Oh yeah, he's an Elder Scrolls person. He's right now he's playing Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, I believe. There's just all kinds of role playing. Neverwinter Nights, Dungeons and Dragons stuff. Pretty cool stuff. Thank you guys very much for joining me. I'll see you at the same time next week. Have a good weekend. Later. No!